welcome to the Swilly Report, or Spill with Swill, or I don't know. I don't really have a name yet. Maybe you guys can help me out with this, but I wanted to start bringing you guys a weekly show where I just talk about things that happened over the past week or so. 3 topics. I want to talk about Dana Brown getting fired from the Astros. I want to talk about the Premier League, and I want to talk about Kim K's baseball show that she's coming out with. So we're just gonna hop right in. I'm so excited about this, guys. This is something that I've never done before, but I want to. And, you know, we have grown so much in the last couple of months, which, you know, that doesn't happen without you guys. So I'm super, super grateful. But I want to bring essentially what I do on my short form social media accounts and do a more long form version on YouTube. So here we are. Really, really excited to jump in. So yeah, let's talk about the Astros. Anytime we can talk about the Astros being bad or doing bad things, I'm in. Okay, so this is breaking news as of this morning. The Astros have fired their GM, Dana Brown, who was with the club for 4 years. You know what? Kind of makes sense. They've been bad since the trade deadline. I think they've lost like 5 of 6 series, and they had a really bad homestand this last week. Anytime you give up a series to the Halos, you didn't have a very good time. So not super, well, you know what? I take it back. I am a little surprised. Maybe just because I've been a fan of a bad baseball team for a really long time. Anytime that another team does something that I would be particularly happy about, I'm surprised. But objectively speaking, you know, they missed the playoffs this past year. The Astros did. Their farm system is now pretty shot. So not super surprised. I will say this. I wasn't super familiar about who Dana Brown was. So in case you're not familiar about who Dana Brown was, he used to be the assistant GM for Alex Anthopoulos over with the Atlanta Braves. And before that, he had no other ops experience. He was a scout for a while with a few different teams. The Blue Jays, I think, the Pirates. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 other teams mixed in there. But, you know, they are leading the division, I think. Now I got to be safe and check. The AL West is just such a bad division. They're tied with the Rangers. Both teams are 65 and 66. Not great, I'd say. But that's kind of all you really need in the AL West right now. Everyone else is also so bad. The Mariners, man, what the... That could be a whole episode on its own, the Seattle Mariners and how bad they are. But anyways, I do find it interesting that they've also fired Dana Brown while letting Joe Espada stay. Again, they missed the playoffs last year for the first time since 2016, 2017. So look, when I opened up The Athletic today to see what exactly I wanted to talk about, I knew that this is what I wanted to talk about because, again, the Astros are in such an odd spot. Obviously, they have been such a staple to playoff baseball for the last decade or so, and now they find themselves in a spot of what's next? Dana Brown tried his best to have a decent offseason this past offseason, you know, signed a bunch of pitchers, although half of them got DFA'd. One of them is Tatsuya Imai, who recently-ish became a bullpen arm. He hasn't been very great. And one of the things that he came into this position looking to do is sign young guys, right? Just like the Braves did. And he only gave out 2 extensions in his entire tenure, I believe, with the Astros. One was Christian Javier, who that hasn't worked out. And the other one is Jose Altuve, who, well, I don't really know if you can count that as a solid extension or not. You don't re-sign Kyle Tucker. You don't lock down Jeremy Pena. And you don't lock down Hunter Brown. Objectively speaking, I understand the move, but I am interested to see what happens with the Astros moving forward. If you happen to be an Astro fan watching this, which, if you're an Astro fan watching this, a show from an Angels fan, bless your soul. I like you. Maybe you're not all as bad as they say. Let me know how you feel about this move. Is there anybody on your radar that you're maybe looking to get for the upcoming season? I don't know. Perry Manassian is probably looking for a job. You can go that route if you want. I have been waiting to talk about this for a while now, but I wanted to gather all of the details before I really dove in and talked about this. Kim Kardashian is releasing or executive producing a reality TV show called Teen Moms Baseball, which, look, I'm going to start this out by saying, coming from experience, this show might be one of the messiest reality TV shows that we see in recent memory. Kids sports are a disaster nowadays, as I'm sure some of you know. They revolve so much around money and the parents and favoritism and entitlement with this, upcoming generation that I feel like we all can kind of see. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of a boomer take, but I think that this show is going to be so messy, and I am so sad. I am so sad for this. I have my own experience playing travel ball. This isn't exactly a travel ball team that they're going to be following. You know what? We'll talk about the show as a whole. So like I mentioned, Kim Kardashian is releasing this show. It's going to be released on Paramount Plus. She's executive producing this show with the same team that does Love Island USA. That alone should show you how messy this show is going to be. It's not following the kids, which I think is good. Obvious to me. Obviously, it's called Teen Moms Baseball, but the show doesn't necessarily follow the kids. It's following the moms, and it's following the parents that are involved with this prep baseball academy that teaches 6th through 12th grade in Scottsdale, Arizona. There is an eclectic group of people in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I love Scottsdale. I love Arizona. One day I would love to move to Arizona. I think that it's a great place, lots to do. I love being outdoors. Fun fact about me, I love hiking. I love being outside, and there's a lot of hiking, a lot of beautiful scenery in Arizona. But I guess this is a feeder school, which I find interesting because the school hasn't even been around for 2 years. So I don't really know how you could classify yourself as a feeder school. But if you're not familiar with what a feeder school is, basically they pride themselves on being a program that feeds their athletes to really good colleges, to professional leagues. They feed these players NIL deals. So they take pride in the fact that they produce really good athletes. But again, you haven't even been around for 2 years. So I don't really know exactly how you could claim that, but I guess you could really just say anything nowadays, I suppose. The show is following six families. Let me double check. Look, here's the thing, folks. I'm just getting used to this whole prep thing. So maybe my prep's not perfect right away, but we keep it real here, so it's fine. I think it's 6 or 7. Sorry, 7. 7 families. Oh, and the show is coming out next month. It's coming out in September, I believe, like September 17th, maybe. That feels right. September 24th. I was close. I was a week off. Now, one of the families, this is specifically for JP. So JP, if you're watching this, I'm going to know that you actually watched my first episode by you bringing this up to me, okay? This is very important. One of the families, the Mears family, the dad, Casey Mears, yes, JP, that Casey Mears, he's been a NASCAR driver for like 20 years or something like that, which I find kind of interesting. I don't know, kind of fun. I'm very intrigued to see if the following seasons of this show pick up bigger names in the baseball industry. That makes no sense. In like travel prep baseball, although I guess maybe some of these last names sound familiar to certain people that live in like Arizona, California area. But anyways, you can just tell by the trailer of this show you could just tell how messy this is going to be. And I mean that with all of the respect in the entire world, but, you know, I feel like you can just tell that there's a sense of entitlement, a sense of money talks, a sense of my kid is the best player on this team. Yes, they might only be hitting 225, but they're the best player on the team and they will be a professional athlete someday. I feel like you can just tell, you know what I mean? And the way that the name of this show is set up has me very curious as to whether or not there will be other sports involved. But again, coming from experience, baseball, softball, travel ball, very messy. I have enough stories. Should I just share one? Okay, maybe I just share one. So my very first travel ball team, I won't say the name of it. My very first travel ball team that I ever played on was a hot mess, okay? The coach was very eccentric and very loud and yelled a lot, and not in a way that would fire you up, right? I like a coach that's going to give it to me straight, that's going to tell me that I need to, you know, wake the fuck up and show some respect to the game and whatever. I respond very well to that, unfortunately. I think that's my trauma, but that's a different story. This coach yelled like they were taking out frustration of their life onto us. And the girls that I played with were very mean, very messy. They were hooking up with each other a whole bunch. And mind you, I'm like 14, 15 years old, okay? I was pretty sheltered as a kid, so I didn't really know what was going on. And my only goal when I played sports, specifically softball, was to go play college ball. That's all I wanted to do. Of course I wanted to make friends. I was a pretty outgoing person and I wanted to be friends. But at the end of the day, I cared so much more about whether or not I was playing that day, what my performance looked like, if we won or lost, than, I don't know, is that girl mad at me? Does she like me? Do you think that you could distract everybody so we could go to the bathroom and maybe kiss each other a little bit? That's just me, okay? And the thing about this is that the parents kind of knew, and they were kind of bought in on all of this. And anytime that there was any sort of drama on the team and it felt like it aligned with playing time, there were fireworks. And some of these parents just don't care. They just don't care. They make it about them. You know, we have a saying at the office, how can I make this about me? We talk about it a lot with Dalton Feely. We talk a lot about it with Jimmy Norp. These parents, how can I make this about me? When the goal should be, how can I help my child grow into a functioning adult? So just because of my experience alone, I am not even worried about this show being so messy. And I'm sat, and we will be talking about it when it comes out on September 24th. I'm very excited about it. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about today is the Premier League season starting this past weekend. Holy cow. I am so excited that the Premier League season is finally here. Premier League started, La Liga started, Serie A, and Ligue 1. Okay, I'm learning. We're getting there. Don't make fun of me. I am so fired up about this, and just in case you're not familiar, you might be saying, Swilly, I didn't know you were a soccer fan. Well, it's because this is my first time ever watching soccer, watching football. You guys got to cut me some slack about calling it soccer, okay? I'm trying. It's hard, especially when I like American football. It's hard. Cut me some slack. I'm learning. A quick synopsis about how I got into soccer, and then how I got into football, and then we'll talk about how this past weekend went for the Premier League. So, as you guys know, I am now in New Jersey, New York. I work for John Boy Media. I've been out here for a little over a year. And this past summer, the World Cup happened, and the final was in MetLife. It was at MetLife Stadium, which is in New Jersey. It's where the New York Giants and the New York Jets play. And because of that, because that was where the final was, we saw a lot of matches in MetLife. So for about 6 weeks or so, there was soccer culture everywhere. And yes, I was an ignorant American that just said, well, soccer's boring. There's nothing that really happens. Like, okay, a 1-0 game, like that's not very exciting, whatever. But because I was around the culture, and a lot of people in the office are football fans, so that also helped. It kind of just started to inspire me to get into it. I'm like, all right, I'll watch, might as well. So I started watching some games. I was having a hard time because I didn't have anything that was exactly pulling me in. I feel like when you watch sports for the first time, it's really easy to start watching when you have a reason to watch. And yes, I had these reasons, but when I say a reason, I mean like, a certain player or maybe a certain celebrity or whatever. But then my saving grace, a 6'5" Norwegian man by the name of Erling Haaland came into my life, and I was like, wow, this guy's kind of everything that you could ever want from an athlete. He's 25 years old. He's super Gen Z, loves being on social media, is a YouTuber, but he is one of, if not the best striker in football. So made a video about it, went extremely viral, gained a bunch of followers from it, which if you're here from that, hey, how are you? You've changed my life radically, and I just want to say thank you for that. Because I now have this player that I really enjoy watching, it was really easy for me to be super in on the World Cup. So once the World Cup ended, or once Norway was out, really, I mean, of course, at that point, I was bought in enough that I was watching like the quarterfinals and the semifinals and stuff. But now it came to a point where people are like, well, Swilly, now you have to find a Premier League team that you like. And so what does one do? They follow their new favorite player to the Premier League team that they play with, which is Manchester City. So now we are all in on Manchester City, which has been such a dream. Have met some of the people that run the Man City US accounts. We went to an NYCFC game last week. So many of you guys online are Manchester City fans and have been so welcoming, have been helping me learn about the sport, learn about the history of Man City, and it has been such a blast. So now here we are, Swilly Soccer, Swilly Football, talking about the Premier League season. Speaking of Man City, what a game. Man City beats Bournemouth 2-1 when it looked like I was going to jump off of my building and do a couple of backflips. They pulled out a 2-1 victory in late minutes thanks to a man that I want to highlight, Ryan Cherky. Oh my word. Ryan Cherky might be my new favorite player. He's 23 years old. Used to play in France, I think. Let me double check. Yes. He played in Ligue 1 for a while. When he was 15 years old, he made his debut in France in Ligue 1, which is nuts. He has been on Manchester City since last season. This is his second year. Basically what happened was, he didn't start, which was shocking even to me, who hardly knows exactly what's going on. He comes onto the field in I think the 60-something minute, 70-something minute, and he created 2 goals in late minutes, and Man City won 2-1. And it's so interesting because, I'm learning about how people feel about Manchester City, and people started to talk a little bit when we were down 1-0 to Bournemouth. And credit to Bournemouth, they looked really good. Our defense looked not great, even though we were possessing the ball a lot. I see how people feel about Manchester City. And you know what? Bring the smoke. That's fine with me. I don't mind. I think it's kind of fun to banter. Speaking of banter, Manchester United. Manchester United lost to Hull City. Let me put this into American football terms for you guys. Manchester United lost to Hull City, which the way that the EPL works, and I think all of these football leagues work, teams get promoted and demoted onto different levels. There's the Premier League, which is the top-ranked football league in England. I almost said France. That would have been completely wrong. There are 6 levels. Teams get promoted, teams get demoted, depending on how they do in the league. So Hull City recently got promoted from the second highest ranked league in England. And most people said that they're gonna be 20th out of 20 teams. So they're not great. Manchester City losing to Hull City 2-0 would be like if the Dallas Cowboys, not if, when, because this happens every year, the Dallas Cowboys said, we're winning this thing. We're taking down the Bills. We're taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't even mean to do that. We're taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. We're winning the whole thing. And the Cardinals come in and shut them out. That's essentially what happened. And I think that it's hilarious because a lot of Manchester United fans were very mad at me that I chose to be a Manchester City fan. There's beef, if you could imagine. They're both in Manchester, if you didn't put that together. Another game, Aston Villa lost 4-0. Poor Joes. Now, I want to talk about this for a second. A lot of people decided to choose a Premier League team after the World Cup, which I think is so great, right? Anytime that a sport can grow, we're doing something right in the world. But a lot of the people that got into this sport chose a team randomly with like a wheel or whatever. And remember how I said earlier that I think it's really important that you find a reason to watch a certain team or watch a certain sport? I think when you do a random wheel, you aren't bought in the same way that like I'm bought in because Erling Haaland is on my favorite team. So we got Joe saying that he wants to go in the transfer portal, but now Pop, you Aston Villa chose you by fate, really. So I'll have to find some of the tweets. Aston Villa lost 4-0 to Brighton, which not great. Aston Villa is kind of, from what I've gathered, like a bubble top 6 team. Like they'll probably finish around 10th or so in the league, something like that. 4-0 in your first game, that's tough. And then this clip. This clip with Aston Villa's coach. He was asked about some player. Again, the prep is going to get better. Was asked about some player not starting, and it was like, oh, you have to ask him. You have to ask him about why he didn't play, And then he was asked, is this going to be the last time that he's going to play for Aston Villa? And he says,
silence. Does that maybe suggest?
People are so weird, and I love weirdos in sports. One goal that I wanted to highlight, because this has got probably the craziest goal I've ever seen in my whole life. This is a goal from, what's this guy's name? Some 21-year-old, Dominic Ballard. Holy hell, guys. Look at this goal. This has got to be the craziest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. This is the craziest goal I've ever seen.
It's really well to find Cardines. Needs a good cross. It's not a bad one. Oh, what a goal. But this finish is out of this world. To have the consciousness to even attempt this just outside of his right foot. I think you're right.
Bro, he kicked it. He kicked it behind him.
Goal. Unbelievable
he donkey kicked it behind him. Went for the top left corner. Goal. Holy shit. He's only 21 years old. Football is so fun. I'm so bought in on this. And this is a message for all of the people, all of the non-Americans that said, well, we'll see if you're still watching after the World Cup is over. Here I am talking about it on my YouTube channel. The Liverpool game was pretty cool too, really quick. Liverpool steals a point. They end up winning, or they end up drawing 2-2. They were down 2-1, and they ended up scoring this PK. Good PK in the 99th minute, which is nuts. They stole a point. Let's look at the standings really quick. Okay, Aston Villa 20th. Not great. Tottenham 19th. Not great. Not great. Zoe is a Tottenham fan. He has latched onto Tottenham. Matty Mass, he's an Arsenal fan, so he's happy. Joe's is an Aston Villa fan. Trying to think if there's anybody else that's like pretty bought in on soccer. That might be it. We'll ask around the office and see if anybody's picked a team or not. Okay, I think that's it. I yapped a lot about soccer, but that's totally fine. Thank you guys so much for being here, for watching. I really appreciate it. Things will get smoother, okay? But this is something that I'm so excited to start doing. This will be a show that comes out every single Monday. We'll see if I want to do more at some point, maybe when the baseball off season comes or something like that. But really excited to build something here on YouTube with you guys. Make sure you leave a like. It helps me so much when you like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. I need help with 2 things. Can you guys help me? 1, I need a name. I desperately need a name. I'm at the warehouse right now and I hear something crawling in the walls. I'm going to throw up. I need help figuring out a name. The Swilly report's kind of cute. Spill with Swill is kind of cute. I don't know. Something with my name in it would be good. So I need help with that. And if there's anything that you guys want me to touch on for the next episode, please let me know. It could be literally anything. It doesn't have to be sports related if you don't want it to be. It could be more about me. It could be more about my life at John Boy Media. It could be about living and working in New York City. Anything that you guys want, really. I want to talk about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be all baseball focused, all football focused, anything like that. But yeah, I'm excited. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Remember, sports are really cool. Get somebody into them and they'll change your life. So yeah, okay, I love you. Goodbye.